Hello and welcome to another edition of Unclecthulu Reviews. Today I'm going to look at the Warlord Games French Napoleonic infantry boxes in more detail. So I did in a previous video a comparison between three different manufacturers. Today I'm going to look at and open one each of the French Napoleonic boxes and talk about what's in the box and how you can use it to create black powder units. I'm going to do this in two videos. First one, I'll look at the French line infantry, talk about the organisation of the force and show off my battalions and what I've done with the miniatures. And in the second video, I'll look at the two late French boxes and talk about the differences in them and what to expect in each one of those. So as you see there, I've got three boxes. I've recently ordered a ton of French Napoleonic miniatures from Warlord. This is to bulk out my French army for the Waterloo reenactment next year, which is in Glasgow, which is supporting a veterans charity, and we're looking to set a world record for the largest war game played in the world. So that's what I'm going to be gearing towards with my Napoleonic stuff. Now the miniatures I do, my armies are based in the peninsula, so that means that there will be some differences to the 100 years. For example, I'm probably going to use the older imperial flags rather than the tricolours you'd see in the French. So anyway, let's have a look at the French line infantry box. So, as you can see, 24 hard plastic and metal 28mm line infantry miniatures. So this represents the French army probably at its peak when it had shakos. 1807, 1810 it says on the back. Certainly I wouldn't be afraid of using these in late war either. You've got some lovely artwork on the front there. And on the back a picture of the regiment and some details of what you get inside. What do you get inside? So, sprues, metal miniatures, and an information sheet. So let's look at the information sheet first. So it talks about the formation of a French line battalion. Now, French line battalions had 6 companies of troops. One would be a Voltigeur light infantry company, one would be a grenadier heavy company, and like I say, you'd have 6 companies. Now each battalion would form into a regiment, and generally I think the regiment had 3 battalions. This is explained in the sheet. Now actually Black Powder uses 24 men battalions, which breaks down nicely into 4 miniatures on a base, 6 miniatures, 24 men. So each stand in a French unit certainly in my mind represents a company. On the back there you can see the early imperial banners there. You've also got an alternative colour scheme because Napoleon used Swiss auxiliaries in his armies. Certainly when I was in the Warlord Games store, there's a nice painted white French regiment using this set of miniatures as well, which would represent the Italians. That's certainly something I'm fancying doing sometime in the future. So let's have a look at the metal. So blister pack, so should be 4 metal figures in here. Now the heads are separate, so we've got the first officer figure, bit of flash there. Flash on metal models, I just take a mold line remover and clean up the models before priming. Drummer marching with backpack. Officer ordering his troops to advance, quite an animated officer there. And this is their standard bearer. And again with metal, these guys have separate heads, and metal is just a case of using super glue to assemble your miniatures. So here's the heads. So we have 6 heads. We have shako, bare head, bicorn going across the way, and a pistol. 2 more shakos. Probably be able to do officers in shakos as well as your drummer and a bicon going across the way, and another pistol. You also have a standard in here. I saw this earlier. So that will go in the hand there. And the standard has got two tops. So earlier I said regiments. So a regiment would get 1 eagle per regiment, whereas each battalion would have a regular stand, which is a spanner top, which was almost like a spear. So if you're being totally historically accurate and several battalions from the same regiment were fighting, only one of them would have the eagle, and that would sit on top of the standard. So that's the metal components and the sprues. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sprues of 4 models. So as you can see, march, attack poses there. Now you only have one of the models which has the epaulets for the elite companies. The elite companies were either light or grenadiers there. So actually, if you're looking at 20 models, you're only going to get a full company of 4 with 1 model left over. Now there are ways around that by classing maybe the rest of the command group as being grenadier company. I like to mount my skirmishers separately. I'll show you them in a minute. So that could be a problem for if you're certainly inclined for absolute accuracy on the battlefield. However, it doesn't bother me too much, and to be fair, once I've seen it, I want a unit using the old grenadier heads, which is like a bearskin. So let's talk about the heads. So you've got the grenadier head with the bearskin on. You've got 2 heads with the longer plumes, and they're for your grenadier Voltigeur company, sorry. A field cap and 4 regular shako heads in various stages of chin strap done up. Now the backpacks have a really nice touch to them. So the backpacks, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but you've got the Imperial cipher, the N, on several of them. Then you've got the 2 with the short swords, and the short swords went to the Voltigeur companies and the Grenadier companies. So here's one of the cartridge pouches with the grenade on, which was a symbol for the Grenadiers, and one which has got the horn on, which is a symbol of the Voltigeurs. So that's a really nice touch. So what would that look like? Now these are the late war, but this is how I construct my battalions for Black Powder. So as you can see, I'm using the 45 by 40 mil bases. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 regular groups. Now my Perry ones actually have pom-poms on, and the Perry ones I've painted the pom-poms in different colours. I've got my command group there. I've got a broken musket, and I've got my Voltigeurs comes forward on 2 separate bases. Now the Voltigeurs are Perry miniatures there, and in Black Powder you can pull some companies forward to skirmish, so that's why they're like that. So that is what you're going for a 24-man battalion. The other thing this enables to do with the 4 bases, even though you're only reducing units if they feel a stamina, the whole unit goes, you can form line. You can also form different columns as well, and the flexibility that the 6 bases gives you is what I'm looking for. So I said that's Warlord, and I did say I would compare with Perry's, and one of my previous videos was compare with the Perry's miniatures. So this is Perry's metal command there. You can see a banner bearer and an officer, and those are Perry miniatures and Great Company. And actually, and another Voltigeur, I don't believe you can see that much difference when they're side by side on the battlefield, or even in the same units. So there you go. Part 2's coming up, and that will be looking at the French line infantry box late and the French light infantry box late. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again.